Hello everybody and welcome back to Minecraft Tips and Tricks. Today I wanted to talk about brass, specifically automating your brass production for the Create mod. Now if you're going to go through the quest like I'm doing here, the quest line, and go through all of it, if you go down to the bottom here, you'll see you've got an overpowered section. And if you look at these sections, you got basically all kinds of stuff that you have to do, and that includes create. Now it says one precision machine there. You just got all these different, but as you get down in here, it gets even more intense. One of them, one of them in here has you have to do 128 precision machine parts. I forget which one. Yeah, right there. So 128 precision machine parts, which is crazy. But in order to make the machines, you're gonna need brass. So it's good to get brass automated early on. Now, if you look in here, there's really only one way to make brass. You can't make it other than using the Create. So if you look at brass here, you can turn nuggets into that. You can use bees, which will work. But really, this is the only method available to make brass, other than going with the bees. You could go with the bees and do it that way as well. But it looks like, let's see, I think the centrifuge, right? Yeah, you can get it out of the centrifuge, so you don't have to go this method. But this is, going to be probably one of the easiest ways of doing it, getting this set up here. The centrifuge is a pretty good way to do it, but, bees are, I haven't gotten into bees yet, and I'm not a big fan of bees, but I am going to be working on the bee quest, because my goal with this pack was to do all of the quests, or at least as much as I could possibly do on here. And you can see some of them I've already finished, like the progression quest. That's done. This one's done. Getting started is done, but it's not showing it. So I'm guessing there might be some hidden quests in here somewhere. I'm not sure. But I have, everything's got a check mark on it, so I don't know what's going on there. Basic is finished, but I still got stuff to do, like the magic, the food I haven't done anything in. Haven't completed all the pedestal stuff yet. Base expansion, these are all just different things, like your the different chisel type stuff that you can do, so for building blocks, different charms, and so on and so forth, and all the little gizmos that you can get, compact machines and the building gadget, for example. But, if you get down here, and if you're planning on doing this stuff, then you can see that there's some heavy-duty things that you have to get, like crying obsidian. I don't know that there's a way to actually make crying obsidian. I guess you can use the this, I don't even know how you say that, antiprotonic nucleosynthesis machine. I think that's how you say it. Of course, you can find it in bastions, which I don't think bastions are even in this pack. We've got those nether villages, but that's all that I've ever seen. Nether loot bee. You can see how many bees I've got. I think they're went out of simulation distance, so that's why they're frozen. They're actually just sitting out there not doing anything, because they've gone past simulation distance, but they're still within the render distance of the mod of Minecraft. So brass is going to be a big thing, especially when you need the brass to make stuff like deployers, for example, which is what you're going to need in order to make you need the brass sheets for that. And you're going to need the deployers to make those precision machine parts. And I'll show you how I've got mine set up, to do it. So brass is going to be a big part of it, especially, if you just want to do the create mod. In general, brass is kind of an important aspect of it. So, well, first off, let me see if I can pull that back up real quick. We'll look at it. Here we go. So you notice the setup here. You've got the mixer. That's not too bad. But then you've got this blaze burner here. So this is a little tricky to get. But if you've got your mob farm up and running, it's pretty much, pretty simple. Just make the brazier, the blaze brazier, I think it's called. And it'll be empty, right? It'll be empty when you make it, and let me turn my magnet off. So it'll be empty when you make it. So if you've got your mob farm going like I do here, then what you can do is I've got this ethereal glass, and you can walk through it. The mobs can't get through it, but the player can walk through it. So just turn your fans off, or however maybe you're on vector plates. Do we even have vector plates? I'm not sure. But anyways, when a blaze spawns like that one right there, you just right-click it with the brazier, or whatever it's called. I can't think of what the actual name of it is. But you just right-click it, and that'll put the blaze inside of it. It'll kind of capture that blaze. And so that's the easy way to do it. So you probably want to do that when you get your mob farm all set up. Now, I did go through all of the space stuff, and these are all the different. These are the two suits. Now, I'm wearing the jet suit, or I have the jet suit. I'm not wearing it, but I have the jet suit here. If I need to go out and back out into space, I wear it. But I went all the way up to Tier 4 rocket. This is the rover that you can put together to run around in. This is the Tier 1. This is a Tier 2, 3 here. And then this is the final one, a Tier 4. And this is the one you need to go to Glacio, which is the last planet in at Astra. So yeah, I've completed all that. And these are the different suits that you make as you go along. The jet suit is the top tier. But one of the things you can do at Ad Astra is build yourself a space station. And so this is my space station here. And of course, it doesn't look like this. It's a fairly basic kind of setup. So I built this to do some of the late. This is sort of the late game workshop, if you will. This is where I'm going to be doing, like making these precision machines, for example. Now I've got it hooked up to the network, but there's something you need to be aware of, and I know I'm not the only person having this problem, but there's a glitch in refined storage that you get it set up, and the way you set it up is pretty straightforward. You have a network receiver, and then back in the overworld, you have a transmitter, and there's a network card. So you right-click on the receiver and put it in your overworld transmitter, and that'll link the two together. And then I have this so I could do the wireless grid, because I've got the universal grid. But what happens is, if you leave the game, now it doesn't always happen, but if you leave the game and you come back into the game, it loses this connection, and the refined storage doesn't work in your space station, or I've had problems with the Nether, losing connection in the Nether as well. So yeah, it's just a kind of weird little glitch. I'm not sure what the problem is. I know I'm not the only one having the problem though, because I've seen, like on the Discord, other people were saying they were having the problem as well. So you just have to kind of relink it. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now this area is chunk loaded, and you need to have your base chunk loaded, you're in the overworld, and you need to have this chunk loaded. And of course, if you don't know, you just do that here with these claim chunks, and you just you can load and unload your chunks via the map here. But this is going to be kind of it's not a huge area, but I've got, and I can expand it out if I need to, but I got enough area here to kind of work with, and I can squish stuff together. And a lot of this stuff doesn't take up a lot of room. It's a lot of the same thing that you have to do. So yeah, if you get it, what I plan on doing is getting this stuff set up here and then just letting it run, just letting it go through the process of making whatever it is we're making. And the way you turn this stuff in is via these task modules, these gizmos here. So basically you turn in these quests via these little things here. They have all of the progression quests in there, and you just turn them in via those tasks. And there are some really nice rewards. You get some of the creative items. Let's see, we're you get the ultimate induction cell. That's not bad. But there are some creative items in here as well. I saw them. Yeah, creative energy cell, for example, for applied energistics. You get the flight totem in here. Although you notice I don't have any jetpack on the left-hand side. You would normally see the jetpack information. I don't need it because I got the flight totem from my hostile mob farm. So yeah, I've got creative flight now, so that's pretty cool. But you do get like the creative chance penguin. You do get creative items here. Creative motor for create. Yeah, that's a good one. Creative paste container. I'm not sure what's in there. In crystals. So you get some really nice everlasting pool. This is the creative mana pool. Never runs out of mana. So yeah, there's some good rewards in in that overpowered section. Which is kind of your in-game section here. Yeah, this is basically, once you get through all this, you've done the completionist route, which is something that I'm planning on doing on this pack. I honestly think this is one of the best packs I've played in a long time. My favorite pack of all time. Well, I've got a couple. The first one is Tekkit because it's the first modded Minecraft I've ever played, so it holds a very dear place in my heart. A lot of good memories with that mod. But the best mod I think that I've ever played was the Project Ozone series, and there were a few of them in this series, and they were all just what I consider to be the best of the best as far as mod packs, and very few have really come up to that standard. But this mod pack does come up to that standard, and I'm really enjoying it. I played all the mods 8 too, and I did not enjoy that mod pack, I will have to say. Yeah, I did not like the way the quest system was lined out, especially for the creative items. This mod pack, on the other hand, does it very differently, and it's very accessible, very achievable. You can achieve it in all the mods 8 too, but it basically boiled down to just grinding out 1 million of something, which is, in my mind, is not very interesting. Now, you have to do that here as well. You have to grind out a lot of materials, but it's not on the same kind of ridiculous situation that it was, in my opinion, in all the mods 8. Of course, all the mods 8 is super popular, and if you don't worry, I wasn't concerned with the creative items or doing, getting the all the Modium Star, for example, which is kind of the end game on that, and it was a very tedious process to get there. I really wasn't concerned about it, and I just kind of played it for a while, but I honestly didn't really enjoy that mod pack too much because it's basically everything was geared towards getting that all the Modium Star, where in this mod pack it isn't. It isn't completely geared towards getting the in-game items. You can play this map completely independently of the quest line. You don't have to do the quest line at all to play this map and to really have a interesting time with it, because it does things differently. It uses the Civ as the main resource gathering, and there's such a good mix that you have to basically touch on every single mod in order to kind of do all the things that you want to do to get done in the pack. And if you do go through the quest line, which I'm actually really enjoying in this pack, then you are definitely going to have to touch every single mod in order to get through all the different quest lines. So my goal on this was to get through all the different quest lines and to get all the in-game stuff. So I'll be playing this for a while, but that's fine because I'm really, like I said, I ranked this right up there with Project Ozone, which I loved, absolutely loved, and played to death on that. I went through the whole thing on that Project Ozone. In fact, there was several versions of it that came out for different versions of Minecraft, and they were all just excellent. I played all of them, really good. But here's my precision machine. If we look up precision machines, the precision mechanism, I guess it's called, right? Precision, yeah. Yep. Yeah, there it is. You can see how, here's the process, and this is the only way to make it. So if you're going to do this, you're going to have get create set up. And again, these deployers take brass, but you only put a gold plate in there, which isn't too bad, but you have to do it 5 times, and you actually only have an 80% chance of getting that precision machine. That's sort of a create thing. I got some of those in there. Let me pull those out. And I'll throw these into the box. I've got 135 of them already, so yeah, I've been working on it. We'll throw those in there, and you can see the process that I've got. Now again, I've got this hooked up to the refined storage, so I've got an exporter here, and the exporter gives it cogs, and then this exporter gives it large cogs, and then this exporter gives it iron nugget. Those are the 3 material that you need in order to do this. And the way you set these up is you do an exporter with a crafting upgrade, and that will and you have to have the crafting recipes in the refined system, in your system. So you have to have the crafting recipe for the cog, small cog, for example, in order for this to work. But it'll generate them as needed, or it'll craft them as needed, and it will keep this guy full of small cogs, for example. And the way I've got this set up here is I'm using a weighted injector, and if we can watch up here, it'll throw it back. Oh, well, I think they all completed. they all went through here. I've got to import on this chest here, so the completed items get sucked into the brass funnel. And by the way, the brass funnel, you need brass for that as well. But you can see all the different, you get the completed item, but you also get all this extra junk, and you have to take into account for it. But you can see it's a fairly straightforward system. It isn't too hard. The weighted ejector, let me get a gold plate here. Yeah, I've got, we'll just get one for right now. And we'll go back over here so we can see it. Notice I got a little channel up there, and the reason I got the channel up there is to guide it sort of into the in here. The way those weighted ejector works is you right click your destination, which is this spot here, and then you put it down there, and it'll tell you whether or not it can reach it. But this little channel just makes sure it gets to where it goes. And what's interesting, and this wasn't intended, but it actually works out pretty well. When it gets flung back, it actually ends up in the chest, as you can see. I think it hits this funnel and goes into the chest, and then the funnel pulls it back out of the chest. And it'll do this 5 times, and then it either, completes or it fails. And if it fails, then it'll pull the items, whatever byproduct you get, the junk, quote unquote junk stuff, although it's all useful stuff, but it'll pull it into the, it'll take it off the conveyor belt here. And you notice that I'm using, let me go around this way so we can take a look at it here. I'm using the Starbuncle wheel as the power. Now, the way you make these is you use the, what are they called? Yeah, these guys right here, the shards. So you can give a wild Starbuncle a gold nugget, or you can, you can do your Shady Wizard, and he'll sell them to you. And that's what I've got. I've got a Shady Wizard that'll sell me the these shards. And then you just basically make the Starbuncle charm in your enchanting apparatus. And it's really simple. It's just gold and the Starbuncle shard. That gives you the little Starbuncle charm. And then you just combine that with the water wheel, and you get your Starbuncle. And it produces some decent stress. It's not a huge. It's not like a steam engine or something. But as you can see, it produces 384 stress. Now, if you put the gold block in front of it, like I have here, it actually increases the speed of it. But yeah, these things produce a pretty decent amount of stress. So, like here, I've got a rolling mill hooked up to it, and I've also got the rest of this stuff hooked up to it. Now, when you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, especially, this guy, you spawned in my space station. We'll save him. There we go. When you're doing this kind of stuff, you're going to be making, a ton of cogs, a ton of, different material for create, and it all takes that andesite alloy. So what I've got set up over here is I've got dirt that I'm sifting, and the dirt produces a bunch of different material. But what I'm actually, the only thing I'm really interested in, the pasture seeds will give you grass. So I've been pulling those out and saving those because those are useful. But these andesite chunks, and 4 of these will give you a piece of andesite. And andesite with either iron nuggets or zinc nuggets will give you the andesite alloy. So I've got that set up, and I just got a continual supply of andesite that's going into my storage system, just because this thing requires a ton. And again, I'm auto crafting all this stuff all the time, so yeah, you're going to need a steady supply of that. But here's the brass, and this is something that you probably want to automate just to have it always on hand, because you're going to be using quite a bit of it, especially when you get into the create. So let me just show you how it works here. I've got a bunch in there already, but I'm going to pull them out just so we can watch it. So we'll just craft one here, and see it's the zinc and the copper, and then you end up getting two out of it, and it's not working. Oh my! Why is it not working? Did I not do it? Oh, maybe I didn't actually request it. I think I don't think I hit start. There we go. And that was, let's do it again. I couldn't get rid of my, let's pull that out of there. And start. There we go. So as you can see, it automatically just put that in there. So let me give you an overview kind of what I'm doing here. So if you look in the crafter, oh, wait a minute. Why is that in there? Oh, you know what? I have one of those. That's weird that it ended up in there. I have one of those crafting managers, and I must have accidentally put it in the wrong thing. So yeah. Anyways, so we have the pattern here in the crafter, and what it does is it's going to put these items in the chest here. I can't open the chest. Put these items in the chest, and then they'll be sucked out by this hopper and put into the basin here. Now I've got it filtered for brass, so the only recipe it's going to make is brass. So if some non-brass items, if something besides copper and zinc got put into the basin, it wouldn't do anything because it's only going to do brass. But so I can request however many, and it'll just dump the copper and zinc into this chest, which goes into the basin, and the mixer will mix it up and then dump it onto the deployer here. And I've got to import here. So once it gets dumped onto the deployer, the importer will suck it back into the system, and it ends up in my system. So that's how that works. Now the thing here though is you need to keep this guy full of, it has to be hot, right? And like any sort of, like a furnace, you have to supply this guy, this blaze burner, you have to supply it with some sort of fuel. In this case, I'm using lava, but you could use coal or whatever. But it has to stay, in order for this to work, it doesn't heat unless it has its fuel. So my solution was pretty straightforward, I think. I wasn't sure this was going to work, but it works just fine. These blaze burners, by default, won't accept liquid lava like I'm doing here. What I'm doing is I'm using a magma crucible with netherrack here, and the netherrack is coming from the pedestals. If you put a pedestal with a material generator on top of nether brick, it's going to generate netherrack, and these two are linked together, and it just gets sucked down into the magma crucible, which makes the lava. Very simple. And I've got a point on this guy, a flux point, to power him. If you look on the side here, so I've got the flux point on him, and that way he'll always be powered. But in order to get the blaze burner to accept liquid lava, which it won't do by default, you have to make a straw. Now this is an add-on to create from the Create Crafts and Additions. Basically, you take a bamboo and run it through a roller, which is why I've got the rolling machine right here. And you basically just put a bamboo on it, and you'll get a straw. And then you take that straw and right-click it on the blaze burner, and then now he'll change into this version of it that it will accept the liquid lava. So now you have to, this mechanical pump, you've got to power it. And so the way I've got it set up here, again, I'm using Starbuncle power. I've got 2 Starbuncle wheels going there, which goes into a gearbox. And you have to gear ratio your mechanical mixer in order for it to it has to have a certain amount of speed in order for it to actually work. And the speed that you need to set it at will be 1 large gear and 1 small gear. That gear ratio gives it enough speed to actually work. So I set it up such that I could actually use this gearbox on both of the mechanical pump and for the mechanical mixer at the same time. Now I added the extra. Now I had just 1 Starbuncle wheel going here, but I added the extra one for the rolling machine. I wasn't actually overstressed. I could run it off of 1, but I decided to go ahead and do 2. I mean, these things are so easy to get and to make, and I'm using them as my main power source on all of this. I'm not using the water wheels or anything. I'm just going to use the starbuckles up here because it's very, very nice, very easy way of setting up systems, and they're kind of cute. They kind of look kind of neat. Can we get a side view of it? Yeah, you can see the little starbuckle inside running, trying to get to that gold. So that's your brass automation. It's really, really quite simple. Oh, you can see here this chest. I had coal in it. I can get rid of that now. I don't need that anymore. But yeah, this if you're going to set this up, I really recommend you using the lava generator to do it. It just makes it so much simpler to do. And that way you don't have to worry about fueling this guy. Once this kind of reaches a point, see, this internal buffer will fill up, and then it just sit there and wait until this guy's ready to get more lava, and the mechanical pump will just push it in there. So yeah, and since this is hooked up to the refined system, I can request the brass in the overworld, and it will work as long as the link is good. Again, there's that issue with the link breaking that you have to kind of fix. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to kind of go over brass automation. I thought this was a pretty simple, pretty straightforward way of doing it. Kind of using all the different bits and pieces of the mod. But yeah, this is a pretty easy way of getting brass set up. Again, you need to filter it. But once you get this set up, brass isn't an issue. So I mean, brass is taken care of. And then again, you're going to need to do something similar to this setup here. And again, I've got this gear ratioed so it runs at a decent speed. You're going to need something like this because you're going to need a steady supply of andesite in your system. It's just, andesite is the key material in Create. So yeah, you're going to need to be able to set this up. And I've got this black ender chest is connected directly to my storage system. So all of this stuff goes directly into my storage system. I don't have it go through the refined system. The refined system can access the storage system as an external storage unit. So I'm not using up all of my space in my cards. And I actually added another card in here just because I didn't really need it, but I was testing I've got it on AutoCraft, so I was testing the AutoCraft on it to make sure it worked. So I got 2 cards in there, but as you can see, because I'm using it's only 14% full, because I'm using this wall of drawers here. I'm not using much space in the actual drives itself. So we can throw all this stuff back, and I need to don't need those. I need to put these in my crafters down here. I must have just shift clicked them in there and it put it in. This is what I was talking about here, your crafter manager. You can see that it has all of this stuff here. And I must have accidentally just put them up there rather than put them in the crafter, which is what I should have done. So, I mean, they'll actually probably work here, but they don't need to be there. That's not where they're. This is this is the crafter that's pointing into the chest, and so these should be processing. These are processing patterns, not crafting patterns. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, definitely get you one of these process crafting managers because it just makes it real easy. You can look at everything. You can see cables and a scriber. Yeah, it just gives you you can look and see what all the different patterns that you have and where they're at, where they're located. You can do a search on it, so, and it'll just bring up the stuff that you search. So really, really useful. Definitely recommend you getting that. Alrighty, well, I don't want to go too long. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention it, did I? These are the RF Tools dialing system here. I'm so used to using them now. Oh wait, I forgot the. Yeah, so these are the dialing system, and you need see, where is it? Here it is. So you need the matter transmitter and the matter receiver, and then you need the dialing. Where is it at? There's a dialing box in here somewhere. I don't know where it is. You can also use these charged porters as well. You can right-click. You can select a destination and use those. But there is a dialer in here somewhere. I don't know where it is off the top of my head. Screen controller. But anyways, you need the dialer as well. They're really simple to make. They're not very dialing device. So the dialing device, basically, you can set your different destinations. So like this guy here, he's base, and then the receiver down here is the main base here. So this is the base transmitter, but if you look here, I've got the space station dialed up. That's what this guy goes to, and he'll just teleports me to, this is the space station receiver here. So you need a receiver in the location you want to go to, but you also need the dialing device and the matter transmitter to go back to wherever it is you're going. So you need the full setup here. And I've got the matter receiver down here because I want to come back to this area, but I put this up here, which I put it up here because this is where all my space stuff is, and this is the space station. So yeah, I just thought it kind of fit, and I don't mind running up there. I'm kind of keeping everything in its in its place, so to speak. I don't know. I just like doing that for some reason. You don't have to. It's just me. So anyways, there we go. I'm rambling on again. So I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back